Republican mayoral candidate, live from San Francisco. Rayan Amiri, founding leader of the Conservative Party of Iran, in exile, live from Istanbul this evening. And Angie Wong is a Republican.
Okay, Rayan, can I get Rayan into this?
Please,
Rayan,
please, yes.
well, what's with this revolt that was promised once Ayatollah Khamenei is eliminated? I mean, it seems like the elusive WMDs of the Iraq war. I mean, there is no revolt on the ground in Tehran.
Look, first and foremost, I'm very surprised when seeing that the media, including yours, are equating the Islamist regime in Iran that killed just a few weeks ago, on January 8th and January 9th, the Ayatollah dictator, Ali Khamenei, has killed off more than tens of thousands of Iranian protesters, and you pretend as if it never happened.
No, nobody pretended. Nobody pretended. We reported on it, my friend.
Some of your guests pretend. They say, oh, there is war, there are civilians are getting killed. No, they are not civilians are getting killed. They are affiliates and associates of the IRGC that are getting killed.
Sorry,
and no one cares. No one cares about Iran. The people, look, let me finish. The people inside Iran celebrated the death of the Ayatollah because for 47 years, they have destroyed our lives. I fled my country. Why? Because as a person who's not a Muslim, I left Islam. I cannot live inside my country. That Iran is called the land of Aryans, not the land of Islamists. We have lost our country to Islamists that conquered and occupied our country, and you pretend, these Ayatollahs have a right to exist. No, the people inside Iran don't want a theocracy. You know why?
But that's the question. That's the question I asked, Ryan. Then where is the revolt? Why are not people coming out and throwing out this regime?
You don't want clerics in charge of India, do you?
No, I do. It's not about me wanting anything for Iran. It's for the Iranians to decide, and the Iranians are not coming out on the streets. Is the question I'm asking. It's proving to me that elusive WMD of Iraq war.
Look, let me finish. Whenever they took to the streets, the regime killed them off en masse. Just recently, the regime killed them off in tens of thousands. And you're telling why the Iranian people are not coming to the streets again? Because this regime is a totalitarian regime. And if you read what a totalitarian regime is, it is a regime that the limit of violence is infinite. They kill as much as people to remain in charge.
Dr. Awad, you have folks there back in Tehran and other parts of Iran. Are you getting a sense that their people are being killed and maimed by the regime so that they don't not come out on the streets?
I have just fled Iran on February 1st. What are you talking about? You gaslighting.
Yes, the economic harsh of the Iranian. There is no doubt about it. There was a killing in both sides. The Iranian lost even the civilian and the military. More than 3,750 people were killed. But I can assure you, not a single Iranian, except the Pahlavi, he wanted to see the American killing Iranian. No Iranian wanted to see being killed, neither by the government, nor by the American, nor by the Israelis. And now the American and Israel attacking Iraqi nuclear site in Iran, and the radiation will kill more Iranian. This is what the Iranian expecting from the democracy that they have already tempered during the 1953 Mossadegh, when they removed him from power and they brought the Shah of Iran. Does anybody ask these questions? If there is definitely there is a political crisis in Iran, it is for the Iranian to decide.
Ryan, you've got to respond to that.
Let me answer.
People living outside Iran have no clue what's going on inside the country. Because
let me answer that. Look, I'm right. Look,
from the people inside. So how do you
are telling an Iranian what he wants?
He's also an Iranian, by the way.
I traveled to Iran more than you traveled.
You are not an Iranian. You're not an Iranian. I'm 30 years old. Iranian youth, they do not want a theocracy. You know why? Because no reasonable.
Ryan,
wants clerics in charge of the country.
Ryan, you're given your age, and that gives also something, which is that perhaps you are not familiar with the Mossadegh era and what happened at that time that Dr. Awad is talking about.
Do you know who was the prime minister before Mossadegh? Name that person. You don't know history of Iran. I know well. That was called Prime Minister
Rasmarov. Before you were born even. You were not even born. You don't understand the system. You lived outside the country. You have nothing linked to Iran. Iranians are very much nationalist. They understand.
Okay, one by one.
Let me finish.
Okay. Dr. Awad, coming to you. Let Rayan finish.
And the wall of shames that they wanted a foreign intervention in their country. No Iranian wanted that. There is a Persian Empire, and you know it. If you're a Persian blood, speak like a Persian. Speak like an Iranian. Don't speak like an American narrative or a Western who claim your mind.
What are you
I have
talking
family
about?
there. I understand Iran more than
Okay,
you.
can I
and more than anyone
just take you?
No, let Rayan complete. Let Rayan complete. Yeah, Rayan complete.
Look, you constantly talk about Mossadegh not knowing. Most of the Americans who talk about Mossadegh are far-left lunatics pushing this propaganda that he was a democratic guy. If he was a democratic guy, once the previous prime minister was called General Razmarov. General Razmarov was a secular modernizer who got assassinated by Islamists. The Islamists who were allied with Mossadegh, Ayatollah Kashani. Remember that name. No one of you knew these names. So the only name you know is Mossadegh. You know, we are fed up with this far-left lunatic propaganda against the Shah of Iran.
Because you scratch your hand, you find America written under your arm. Because you are part of the CIA agents who have...
Let me finish. Free speech. Let me finish. Free speech, you fascist piece of shit.
Your father, he must be an army officer.
1 second. Dr. Awad and Rayan. Dr. Awad and Rayan, for a second. Pull back a second. Pull back. Catch your breath. 1 second.
Let me finish. Mossadegh praised the assassination of the previous prime minister of Iran. That is recorded in history in every account. And he was praising the
can we talk about today and not history? 1 second.
Violence. Right. He was not democratic. He was not democratic. He
okay.
Ryan,
okay, you made a point.
One second. Ryan made a point.
Yeah.
And he said those civilians killed in Iran were linked to the IRGC. By the way, just to set the record straight so that Ryan also realizes, and those back when the protest took place a few months back, we reported on that. And we reported how the regime under Khamenei had covered up the truth and shot people dead. Yes, we did cover that as well. But none of that justifies the killing of young children, Ryan.
Yeah,
160 children who were bombed.
Who says that? Why are you gaslighting?
Oh
like
my God. Just
look, look. Why the people
it was a tomahawk, man.
Ask yourself.
It was a tomahawk.
I told not an Iranian. I checked. I doubt your nationalities.
You are decontextualizing what happened during January 8th and January 9th. I'm going to tell that to your audience that don't know. Look, the people on January 8th did not come to the streets out of a vacuum. They came after there was a call to protest by one man, and that man is Reza Shah Pahlavi II.
Okay, so where are all these protesters,
He called on people. Let me finish. He called on the Iranian people to take to the street and rise up against the Ayatollah regime, and they did en masse, as you reported. So that was after a call by this man, Reza Shah Pahlavi, and you didn't cover that. You didn't cover that. You fascist. You didn't cover that.
Okay, no name calling. No name calling.
Guys, please just pull back.
You don't care about people.
We can have a decent.
No name calling.
We were having a very decent debate until Ryan.
I think the only point Dr. Awad was making was, Ryan, the only point Dr. Awad was making was that while whatever happens in Iran is for the Iranians to decide, that does not give the Israelis or the Americans the right to intervene and carry out these kind of bombings and strikes and killings.
Iranian people
of Iran
do not have an army.
No, but my question to Richie. We are coming to the end of the debate. Richie. Yes, what if this is actually not about Netanyahu or about Ayatollah or about Mohammed bin Salman or about Fox and Friends? It's just about that president. It's been 28 days, for God's sake, only on one issue. President Trump perhaps is bored.
Where is
President Trump is bored.
Trump is intact, but Ayatollah is dead. Ayatollah was the commander-in-chief of the regime. Where is he? He's dead. So you're telling me that Trump lost? Trump is intact. He's alive. But the Ayatollah is the one who's dead. What are you talking about?
Then end the war, man.
You're living in a parallel universe. What
Oh
are you
my
talking about?
God.
My question was to Richie. Richie, is President Trump bored? That's why he's saying, okay,
Where is
fine, let's have a
Mustafa?
ceasefire.
Where is Mustafa?
No,
Mustafa,
no.
where is
Richie,
Trump
Richie,
is
Richie.
not
Ryan,
bored.
Richie.
Okay, Trump is certainly not bored. That is a left-wing talking point. He actually is doing fairly well, as I said. You know, Iran, as we know from 1979 and onwards, is, you know, an ideologically, you know, it's a ruthless, absolute fascist methods.
Yes.
They are the ones that over these decades has been targeting America, targeting the West, targeting Israel, targeting Jews. And so this was something that has just come to a head. And with the tentacles of the Iranian regime going through Lebanon and Iraq and Syria and Hamas and Venezuela until recently, that is the problem that we are facing now, is how they have, instead of being a concentrated one small area of the world, they have sent out their tentacles, and that is the problem. That's what we're fighting ultimately. That is the control of arms, control of training of insurgent troops, control of oil, control of drugs, and control of money. And that's where this is all from.
When the Iranian revolution came and
just a
the
second.
Iraqi government was pushed
And Iran is showing clear signs, the IRGC is showing clear signs that they are desperate and failing.
Dr. Awad.
Wake up, you have killed more than 38 million people, your president, one after the others.
1 minute.
Shame to speak about supporting
I
an
have no idea
American
what you're
president.
talking about.
Okay, Dr. Awad, 1 second.
Absolutely no idea what you think
I
you're
want to
talking
say,
about.
I want to say something to Richie, and I want to also bring in Rasa. Rasa and Angie have barely spoken. I want to bring them in.